more
Yeah.
like football weather. But this week there's a lot of good local matchups, which is fantastic for us.
We had a hard time picking the game of the week because we had like 3 different contenders, which is a good problem to have.
Possibly 4 with the one in Manhattan. We'll talk about that one here a little bit. But yeah, I think our game of the week should be a good one.
If it goes.
The little clicker will work. Maybe. 1, 2, 3.
There we go.
There we go. So our game of the week will feature Seaman at Shawnee Heights tonight. This is a battle of conference foes in the UKC. Katie, I know you talked to them for our KPZ pregame that we do every Thursday. So what was the morale like from both teams when you talked to both of them?
Yeah, I mean, they're excited to play each other like they always are. And, it really doesn't matter what records are going into this game. Seaman is 4-1, while Shawnee Heights is 1-4. However, I think their record kind of tells a different story than how they actually are. We'll start with Seaman first. Coach Swafford told me, he's excited about what he's seen from his team so far because they're 4-1 and they've had a lot of really solid blowout wins, but he still knows there's a lot of things they can improve upon, which is always what you want out of a 5A team. When you get closer to the playoffs, things are going to get harder. So at least they're aware. Yeah, they're really good, but they've still got a lot more to do. And if anything, I think this is going to be a shootout, mainly because of quarterback Max Huston, and then we're going to talk about Shawnee Heights quarterback as well and the awesome season he's having. But starting with Max for now, just last week threw 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's already got over 1,000 yards passing on the entire season through only 5 games. A lot of quarterbacks don't even get that through 8 games or 9 games. And he's got a really good offense surrounding him. Briar Finley is his guy in the receiving core, and Caden McKinney's killing it in the backfield. So this is going to be a high-scoring game, especially because Seaman is so darn good on offense.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the chemistry with Briar is definitely known. When you're 6'4" and get those jump balls, it makes the quarterback's life a little bit easier.
Yep.
And Caden is a great back. He sees the holes very well. He's hard to get down. Been a couple of their games when they've been home, and I think he scored 4 touchdowns in both of those games that I've been at. So, he's a very good back, and they just they're very well rounded this year.
Yes.
When I talked to both of them, or talked to Seaman, I should say, they were very happy with what they have, bringing back a lot of guys. Yes, they lost a couple guys last year, but you could definitely tell it's coming together at the right time. And every year they've gotten closer to that state championship, and it seems like what they're doing right now in terms of offense-wise, defense too. I can't discredit what the defense is doing either. So I think this is a really good matchup for both teams, and we know Shawnee Heights defeated Seaman in overtime last year. That was a great game. I remember Lane, who ran on the field, I think it was after a field goal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So it should be that scoring or even higher than what it was last year.
Yeah, like I said, the records really aren't going to matter because the intensity is just so elevated when it's time for this game every year. And I did ask Coach Swafford, do you see this being a shootout because of how good these 2 quarterbacks and 2 offenses are? And he was like, well, I really hope not because I'm a defensive-minded coach. They've had a shutout this season. Most of their games have had pretty wide scoring margins. So I think they'll take it a little bit personally if it's not a shutout, but I think as any head coach would. And you talked about height for a second there, which is kind of where Shawnee Heights, we'll switch over to there for a second. Quarterback Aiden Scott is 6'5". We're going to talk more about him and talk more about this crazy stat line right here. But the power that he has, he's able to see over a line so easily because he's taller than the entire line. You're not going to get those 6'5" linemen until you get to the college level. So he's taller than everybody on the field. He sees his targets so well. His passes aren't going to get batted down because no lineman's jumping that high to bat them down. Just last week, threw for 600 yards in a game that they lost. Like all of their losses, yes, they're 1-4, but they've all been 1-score games, barring the Washburn-Rural game, which was a 20-point game. That was week 1. Ever since, they've either won a game or lost it by 1 score. That's how close this Shawnee Heights team is. And they've all been really high-scoring games. It's not like a 7-3 game. It's not 17-10. It's like 63 to 59, right here, 69-57. Pretty telling.
Yeah, I think Aiden Scott, there was a lot of talk about him coming into the year, and I know he's getting some college looks. I mean, if he isn't already or if he's getting some, he should. I mean, he put up 600 yards and 7 touchdowns.
And that's not even like by itself. Like he hasn't reached 600 this week or this year till that game, but he's been throwing for quite a bit every game.
Well, and it helps too when you have 3 good wide receivers. You can tell Tyron Parker's getting looks from KU. He was at the TCU game to check that out. He's got 3 great wide receivers to throw to. Obviously, the quarterback's dream is when one is good, but when you have 2 or 3, that certainly helps. So, I mean, look at that stat. They combined for 711 all-purpose yards. That is absolutely insane.
Yeah, this is a team that's so close, and I really like what Coach Jason Swift told me about Aiden before the season, and then he told me the same exact thing this week. It's that Aiden is the definition of work while you wait. He probably could have been good enough to start at the varsity level when he was a freshman or a sophomore because he's been kind of that talent that's been kind of in the background but has been doing stuff elsewhere, not necessarily just with the school. And he's really been growing into his own and working. And he got some playing experience on varsity last year, just coming in, at the end of some blowouts, a lot of stuff on JV and all that. But he's really been working hard for a long time, and Coach Jason Swift is just really excited to see that he's finally getting what he deserves and he's shining in this opportunity. So just a cool tidbit about a guy who's only a junior. He's still going to be here for another year after this.
And I think it's good for a team to have a quarterback like that because, you can definitely be selfish. You could be, hey, I'm the leader of the team. You can't tell me what to do kind of thing. And it definitely seems like he's not that type of guy. And like you said, he's waited for his opportunity. He's going to be scary when it comes to the playoffs. I mean, if you're putting up these numbers in regular season and when you're doing it against decent competition too, the playoffs will certainly amplify that a little bit. So I think this one with Seaman and Shawnee Heights will be that shootout. It depends on obviously who comes out on top.
Yeah, this is going to be a fight between 2 of the best quarterbacks in Shawnee County. So if you're just a high school football fan and your favorite team is away, just go to this game. It's going to be a really good game.
If you want to see the ball thrown in the air, you will see a lot of that tonight. This is definitely another
game of the week runner-up.
Game of the week, exactly. Hayden 4-1. Holton 3-2. Holton's on a 3-game win streak right now after starting 0-2.
A rivalry as old as time.
Exactly. This is because last meeting Hayden won 42-14 in the playoffs. That was sub-state for Hayden to go to the state championship.
And that's the second straight year that these teams have played both in the regular season and in the playoffs. Third straight year they're in the regular season. Who knows if we see them again play in the playoffs.
Very well could be because Holton got theirs, that sub-state to go to the state championship. The next year they meet again.
Hayden gets revenge.
So,
and both of them are state runners-up 2 years in a row. So
yeah, definitely powers in 3A for sure. I like Holton. They're that run-heavy offense. We've known that for the last couple of years. They're going to just push it down your throat until you basically stop them. Bodie Dillon has been fantastic. Tyler Jackson, to name a few, Corbin Wilson. Look at that. Holton as a team has 1,400 yards and 20 touchdowns in 5 games.
Yeah, this is all going to come down to can Hayden stop the run, which Hayden's pretty good too. They're getting shutouts almost every game. They had a tough loss against Wamego, just a 3-point game where Wamego came back and won it 2 weeks ago. But, they're averaging 47 points a game, and they're only allowing an average of 3. So if they can stop the run, it's an easy win for Hayden. If not, it's going to be a dogfight or a cat fight, if you will.
Or a cat fight, exactly.
Wildcat fight.
Could be a cat fight. Yeah, I think this is a pretty even matchup. I think if Hayden can utilize their pass attack as well, obviously John Wallmeyer does have an arm, and so does Connor Hanukkah as well, if they need to put him in there. If Hayden can utilize their pass game, they'll definitely have the advantage. But if Holton can use the run game to their advantage, this might go in Holton's favor. So, it's kind of a toss-up of what team can utilize what better to their strength, and that team will probably come out on top.
Gonna see who wins the fight between the Wildcats.
That one's at Holton, and we will be there. So say hi to our cameraman out there. Okay.
The remote's fighting me today.
It knows it's too hot outside. It's cooler.
It's angry.
Maybe.
It's angry the Royals lost. It's on strike right now.
There we
go.
There we go. One of our other local matchups, Katie will be at this game, so say hi to her if you guys are out at Rossville tonight. So Rossville coming off a big 43-0 win over Mission Valley, and the week before they had a forfeit, so that's a win in their win columns, 2 and 3. Katie, what do you like about this matchup with Care Paravel and Rossville?
Yeah, I think Rossville has finally gotten the boost that it's needed. The first few games of the year, they had a gauntlet of a schedule to start. They start with the War on 24. Shortly after that, they head up to Nemaha Central and take on the reigning 2-time back-to-back 2A state champs. But this is a 1A matchup for Rossville, and this is Care Paravel's first year in 1A. I think Care Paravel's going to get a real taste of what 1A football can be like, because if anyone knows how to win in 1A football, it's Rossville. But I've been liking what I've been seeing from Rossville this season. I've been saying all along they had a bad record for the first 3-4 weeks. Didn't mean that they weren't a good team, and I knew that when it just came time for the playoffs, they were just going to start taking everybody down, which I still think is going to happen. Tayson Horak, I mean, how many Horaks are there in Rossville that just keep running all over the field every single year, scoring touchdowns for him? He's doing great under center, and I think if Rossville builds off that big dominant win from last week over Mission Valley, this is an easy win for them. But Care Paravel did lose a fairly close one, but once he just surged ahead in the end, they could be out for revenge this week.
Yeah, and especially going over to Rossville, that's definitely a tough place to play, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you and I both have been at Rossville. That's definitely a tough environment to go to. I kind of like this matchup for both teams. I think, you know, if Rossville does win this game, obviously gives them, as you mentioned, more of that boost to kind of get to where you need to be in the playoffs in the next couple of weeks. But for Care Paravel, I mean, Jace Pavlik and Tobias Bonura and then Ben Roeder, too, have been three of those bright spots for the team. And I know when Michaela Kelly went out there and interviewed them, you know, yeah, their numbers are down, but they're going to use what they got. And, I mean, these guys are putting up numbers. It's not like they're not performing by any means. Yeah, the record doesn't show it, but these guys will put up a fight and will definitely put up some numbers.
Yeah, and just viewers have to remember, I mean, this is a team that's playing in 1A for the first time. They were 8-man up until this year, and even last year they made history, making it, I believe, to sub-state for the first time in program history in 8-man D1. So they're still adjusting to things, and they've got a really good quarterback in Jace Pavlik under center, so they're going to be good.
I think so, too. That'll be a fun one, and again, Katie will be there.
I like this graphic. Shout out Isaac Deere, digital manager. It may be 90 degrees out, but we're still going to get in the spooky theme because Halloween's only, 2 weeks away?
Just
2-3 weeks? Somewhere
about.
around there.
Got
a little 13 mug, got a little zombie hand coming out of the ground holding a football because it's October. October is for football. This is a fan favorite for some people who work here. Jackson Heights. They're 5-0, and no, they don't get talked about enough, Vince.
No, they do not. I know we went to one of their games earlier this year, and yeah, when you're outscoring your opponents 262-7, I mean, you're obviously doing something right. I think every game they've had besides that one has been a shutout. So, and they're scoring, I think, like 50 points a game. So they definitely. I mean, if they keep putting up these numbers, they'll definitely make a deep run to the playoffs. No doubt about it.
Yeah. I've been saying Rossville's going to make the whole big bang in 1A playoffs, but I think this is the scariest team in 1A this year that no one's talking about.
Well, and their logo's obviously cool, too.
Great logo.
When you're Cobra. But no, Jackson Heights is fun to watch. I'm excited. I mean, I want her to go at least 8-0 in the regular season.
Yeah, another spooky good team that we have that we do like to talk about on occasion. The good old Axtell Eagles, 5-0 to absolutely nobody's surprise because they're on a 44-game win streak. Yes, they've won 3 straight 8-man D2 state championships in a row. They still have yet to lose a game this season. They're beating their opponents 692-0 every single game. What do you like about Axtell this season, Vince?
Well, we know the guy that leads the team is Brendan Smells. He's obviously going to KU.
First D1 commit ever out of that town.
And, you know, they got Eli Broxterman. You know, they got a couple other guys as well on that team. They're just a well-oiled machine. I mean, when you don't lose games, obviously they don't know what losing feels like. So all they know is, hey, we're gonna go on the field and win a game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's all they know. And so I think when you watch them play, it's just, again, a well-oiled machine. They know what they're doing. I mean, Schmelsley can do literally everything that you need him to do. I mean, if it's just him against another 8-man, I think he'd still win. That's just how good he is.
Yeah. I mean, the crazy thing about Schmelsley is that he's their quarterback, and yes, throws for how many yards and runs for how many yards every single game. His specialty is defense. He was the reigning 8-man D2 Defensive Player of the Year, and he's going to KU to be a safety. So that's just how good the kid is, because not only do you have to worry about him running all over the field, and you have to worry about him, you know, swatting down every single one of your passes and interceptions and all that fun stuff.
Well, if Coach Leipold ever needed a backup in an emergency, you know, they got...
He's in Axtell. It's a few hours away.
Brendan Schmelsley. But, I mean, this one comes as no surprise either. The last couple of years that Katie and I have been here, Manhattan's been a dominant force. They haven't lost an October game since 2021.
Ooh.
And that was another 6-man power. But I don't know. That might be the game of the week in the state of Kansas, let's say, could be another one with Wichita Northwest tonight.
Yeah.
And Manhattan, that should be a very, and that's the only two teams that are both 5-0 that are playing against each other tonight.
Wow.
That are undefeated.
Ooh.
So that should be a very fun matchup. And Manhattan's had the upper half, or the better half, I should say, of Wichita Northwest the last couple of weeks, or seasons, I should say. So, they're going to be coming in and hopefully trying to beat Manhattan, but Manhattan had the number the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I mean, we said last year, they win the state championships in 6A 2 years ago, and then last year, I don't want to call it a down year because they still made a postseason run. They just didn't make it to the state championship game. But I was saying all last year, it just kind of felt like it was a bit of a rebuild year. They graduated their quarterback, Keenan Sharks, from the year before, and Carter Aslan steps in, and I was like, this just feels like a younger team this year, and I think next year, which is our present year, is when they're going to be spooky good, and they are. So 6A favorites right there.
I think so, and I think they're number 3 in terms of 6A. It's them, Wichita Northwest, Derby, and I can't think of the other two right now, but obviously those are obviously the 6A teams that are always going to be at the top. So that should be a very fun game. We will have a camera at that game, so just be aware of what happens with Manhattan and Wichita Northwest tonight. So,
Spooky good.
Spooky good. So I will be at Turner at Topeka West, 2 0-5 teams. So hopefully for Topeka West's sake, they can pick up a win tonight.
Yeah.
That would be fun. Steel Burn Humber.
They're getting closer every week.
Exactly, and we just talked about Wichita Northwest at Manhattan. We got Rock Creek at Marysville.
That's gonna be a good one.
That should be a fun game.
Marysville is another spooky good team.
We got Highland Park over at Atchison. Highland Park coming off its first loss last week with Southeast. Santa Fe Trail at Baldwin. Jeff West at good old Perry LeCompton.
All right, and then a Centennial League matchup here in Topeka. Emporia at Washburn Rural. Washburn Rural looking to build off the big momentum boost they got last week, taking down Topeka High and breaking their win streak. The 4-1 Topeka High Trojans will be out at Junction City. Wamigos heading out to Chapman. Linden at Madison. Jackson Heights, spooky good. They're taking on Onega. And Jefferson County Northwards going to be at Valley Falls. St. Paul will be out at Axtell.
And we got Riley County at Silver Lake. That could also maybe
I'll be there.
been a game of the week too. Riley County's been really good this year. Silver
Yeah.
Lake's been very good. I think both teams, if I'm not mistaken, only have one loss. I think, if I'm
Yes,
not mistaken.
Riley County lost 2 weeks ago. Then they came back and bounced back with a win over St. Mary's, which was a very good close game that went to overtime last week. So they faced some adversity there. And Silver Lake, their only loss is to
Rossville.
No,
No,
they beat Rossville.
No, they beat Rossville. I'm sorry.
St. Mary's.
St.
We
No,
covered too
Nemaha
many
Central.
teams.
Week 2.
Nope, we covered too many teams. They lost one game.
They lost to Nemaha Central at home. That's because I remember Carter Hike had like 5 touchdowns in the game. But we had Osage City, St. Mary's. That's another great matchup. 5-0 versus 3-2.
Yes.
Senior night there for St. Mary's too. So if you know any seniors on the team, wish them congratulations.
Bears are coming off a tough loss, so they're going to want to bounce back at home.
Exactly. So we got Marantha Christian at Muncie, Central Heights at Council Grove, Atchison County High School, the Royal Valley, Oskaloosa at Hiawatha, Australia at.
Now remember, even if we're not at a game, we will have those score updates on our website for you. Just head to our website and the scoreboard. Also on our website, you can find the KPZ pregame for this week, where I previewed our Game of the Week matchup between Seaman and Shawnee Heights. And of course, live pregame coverage from Michaela Kelly at Shawnee Heights, and live postgame coverage from her there, and all the highlights you need.
And of course, we'll have the scores in the show as well. If you can't get them online, we will have them in the show, some of those games for you as well. Katie mentioned, check out our website for KPZ pregame, all of that fun stuff. Week 6, hopefully we won't be sweating too much.
The sun will be down. I was cold at the Royals game last night when the sun went down, so.
Well, hey, it's becoming that time of the year. And it's
Yeah.
going to be hopefully a spooky good week. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, we will see you at 10 o'clock for Kansas Prep Zone Week 6, and hopefully you enjoy everything. We'll see you then.
See ya.